You know, the future of work, it demands that we're always learning, always adapting. But here's the thing, success isn't just about what you can do, it's about what you believe you can do. It's all about mindset. And today we are diving deep into that very idea, and we're going to ask a really tough question about the generation that's just now stepping into the workforce. So it all comes down to this one big idea, made famous by Stanford psychologist Carol Dweck. A growth mindset. It's this simple but honestly revolutionary belief that you're not just stuck with the brains or talent you were born with. Someone with a growth mindset actually gets excited by challenges. They see failure not as some kind of embarrassing dead end, but as a launching pad. The total opposite, that's a fixed mindset, which says your talents are what they are, and that's it.
And that leads us right to the heart of the matter. We know this growth mindset is absolutely critical for what's coming. But does Gen Z, the generation raised on the internet, the ones about to reshape our workplaces, do they actually have it? Well, the answer is a whole lot messier than you might think. Now, if you just look at the surface, things look great. I mean, on paper, Gen Z seems to be the poster child for the growth mindset. So let's take a look at the evidence that makes this case. So this story really kicks off with this fascinating study of high school students in Russia. Researchers wanted to cut through all the noise and the stereotypes and figure out what really drives these kids. And they started pretty simply. They just asked them a bunch of questions about what they value in school.
And whoa, the results from the first question were pretty staggering. Take a look. They asked, is it more important to actually learn something or to get a perfect grade? And as you can see, a huge majority chose learning. I mean, that's textbook growth mindset talk right there.
And just to be sure, they basically flipped the question around. This time they asked, would you rather get high grades than actually learn the material? And look at that, an even bigger spike on the disagree side. So the evidence seems crystal clear, right? Gen Z says they value the process over the prize. Case closed. Or is it?
Yeah, this is where our story takes a very sharp turn. Because when the researchers stopped asking questions and started watching what the students actually did, a totally different picture started to emerge.
Okay, but the researchers were smart. They knew that talk is cheap, right? What people say and what they do can be worlds apart. So they set up a few simple experiments to see if the students' actions would line up with their beliefs. And this is where the paradox really kicks in.
Just look at this breakdown. First, they gave the students a choice, a hard assignment where they could really learn something new, or an easier one. The same students who said they loved a challenge, almost all of them chose the easy path. Then they invited them to a tough, prestigious academic competition. Only 14%, just a tiny fraction, even bothered to sign up. And finally, when it was time for projects, they almost always picked topics they were already comfortable with, actively dodging the chance to learn something new.
And this just lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got what they say. I'm all about learning. Bring on the challenges. But on the other side, you've got what they do. I'm going to take the safe bet, the easy A, the path that avoids any chance of failure. This is what experts call the say-do gap, and it is wide open here. So what on earth is going on here? Are they just lying? Well, the researchers argue it's not hypocrisy. It's something much, much deeper. A psychological reflex that actually reveals their true mindset. Here's the key. This is a classic sign of a fixed mindset. It's when the desire to look smart becomes way more important than the desire to actually get smarter. See, they knew the right answer was to say you love a challenge. But when it came down to it, the fear of failing, the fear of looking incompetent, was just a more powerful motivator.
They chose to look good over getting good.
And the researchers found another really interesting piece of evidence that seems to back this up. It comes from teen slang. In Russia, they noticed a trend where kids are borrowing these short, punchy English words like vibe or cringe to replace much longer, more complex Russian words. The theory: this is all part of a bigger cultural shift toward an economy of effort, always looking for the easiest, most efficient path. And that lines up perfectly with a fixed mindset way of thinking.
Okay, so this isn't just a story to knock Gen Z, it's a human story. We all have this gap between who we want to be and what we actually do. So if we know we should have a growth mindset, but we struggle to live it out, how do we fix that? Well, the answer might be in this really powerful idea called job crafting.
This is the big question for all of us, right? How do you go from just knowing the right answer to actually living it? The solution might not be to just throw yourself at a huge, scary challenge. It starts by changing how you see the work you're already doing. And to explain this, let's use a classic story.
So imagine there are 3 stonecutters. They're all doing the exact same job, day in and day out. You walk up to the first one and ask, "What are you doing?" He just sighs and says, "I'm carrying stones." For him, it's just a boring task. It's heavy, it's exhausting, and it's basically meaningless.
Then you go to the second stonecutter, and you ask him the same question. He looks up and says, "I'm earning a living for my family." Okay, so for him, the work has a purpose, but it's just a transaction. It's a means to an end. It's just about the paycheck. But then you ask the third stonecutter. He stops, looks up at the sky with this spark in his eye, and he says, "I am building a cathedral." He's doing the exact same work as the other two, but he has connected his small, repetitive, daily task to a massive, meaningful vision. That proactive mindset, that's the real key to a growth mentality.
And that is exactly what job crafting is. It's the art of being that third stonecutter. It's about you taking control, redesigning how you see your job, changing how you work with people, and choosing which tasks you focus on, all to connect your daily grind to your own personal cathedral.
This model here shows the 2 roads you can take. You've got the light side of being proactive, which always starts with finding meaning. That purpose then leads you to build better connections and eventually to real professional growth. But then there's the dark side. Without meaning, you become reactive, your work feels draining, and it's a fast track straight to burnout. The very first step is always crafting your mindset.
So this whole paradox with Gen Z, it's not a judgment. It's a mirror. It reflects a challenge we all face. That desire to play it safe, to protect our ego, is powerful. But a growth mindset isn't some magical trait you're born with or without. It's something you build one day at a time.
And that's really the final takeaway, isn't it? It's all about being proactive. A challenge isn't something that just happens to you. It's an opportunity that you go out and find, that you shape, that you create for yourself.
Or, as Bruce Lee put it a little more bluntly, it's about deciding you're not going to be a victim of your circumstances. You're going to be the architect of your own growth.
And that leaves us with one last question. Not just about your job, but about everything you do. Are you just carrying stones, or are you building a cathedral? The choice, as always, is yours.